The Oscar Mayer Wienermobile on the road.
Well, now you can spend the night inside of one. The company's putting its road-tripping Frankfurter on Airbnb. The Beef Link can sleep too, comes with its own outdoor space, even has a mini fridge, of course, stuffed with weenies. You can only book one night, though. It'll run you $136. But good luck booking one. Right now, only 3 nights in August are available, and reservations will be granted on a first-come, first-served basis. When they become available, get your refresh button ready, because that'll happen at an undisclosed time starting on July 24th.
And do you know where it will be?
I think it's in Chicago.
Oh, that would be fun.
Kind of fun.
Yeah, I think so, too.
That's our timer now. Thanks for watching. See you back here again tomorrow. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.
And right now at 5, as this extreme heat continues, we're asking local groups how they're making sure the elderly are staying cool and safe.
A 10-hour standoff in Beloit comes to a peaceful end. We'll hear from law enforcement who helped de-escalate the situation.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 5.
And thanks for staying with us at 5. Boy, if you've been outdoors, you know it. The hot and humid weather continues.
Let's turn it over to Chief Meteorologist Gary Canaldi. He is on the weather patio. Gary?
Yeah, a few things to talk about. We have the possibility for some strong to severe thunderstorms tonight with heavy rain, but it's the heat and the humidity over the next couple of days that make the biggest difference. As we look at visible cloud track, you can see some severe thunderstorms out of Iowa moving to the southeast and mainly staying south of Wisconsin. That's good news, at least in the short term. The thunderstorm threat is ending there, but some storms starting to fire up in parts of southwestern Minnesota and move eastward. Those could affect us later on tonight, so the Storm Prediction Center has us under a slight risk of severe thunderstorms for tonight. A slight risk across the central portion of the state tomorrow, although it's doubtful if thunderstorms will even form in southern Wisconsin. If they do, they could become severe, and that'll be the case again for Friday as well. There's a flash flood watch in effect until 7 a.m. tomorrow for areas west of Platteville to Lone Rock to Camp Douglas line. Heat advisories in effect for much of southern Wisconsin from tomorrow afternoon into Friday evening, but southwestern Wisconsin, including Crawford and Grant counties, under an excessive heat warning for heat indices that could get over 100 degrees. Now, that area has cooled off a little bit because of some rain. Madison's still at 86, but notice Prairie du Chien has dropped to 78 degrees. But you factor in the dew point temperatures that right now are in the 70s. Here in Madison, it's 70. Some places are in the lower 70s. The heat index is in the lower 90s, but these numbers are going to go up dramatically for tomorrow and Friday. So look for some thunderstorm chances, especially later on tonight into early tomorrow morning, and then the sun comes out. Temperatures jump up into the mid-90s with heat index values into the triple digits for tomorrow and for Friday. Later on, I'll take a look at when we can expect a break in the heat.
All right, Gary, thank you. And as Gary just mentioned, heat index values could soar into the triple digits over the next few days. So we've still got a way to go with this heat wave. But what does the heat index actually mean?
Meteorologist Dave Caulfield joins us now, sharing the story behind these numbers and how high heat index values really impact all of us, Dave.
Yeah, Eric and Susan, these numbers can kind of be overwhelming and a little bit confusing at times. So what we're talking about with heat index or apparent temperature is actually having to do with how the humidity affects you, why we sweat. So when we combine the humidity with the humidity outside impacts your comfort level because it impacts your ability to sweat. Your body temperature is normally close to about 98.6 degrees. So when your body temperature increases, sweat is released from our skin, and the water from that sweat evaporates, draws heat out of the body through evaporative cooling. So that helps to get our body temperature down. But on really humid days, sweat has a hard time evaporating from your skin. So where do we get these numbers from? That's a question that we've been getting a lot. There is an equation, and it's actually at the bottom of your screen. It is quite long, but really we factor in the air temperature and the dew point temperature. So if we kind of line up what we're expecting, temperatures in the mid-90s here and dew points in the 70s, you can see where we get that range of about 100 to 110 degrees. So as far as breaking down the numbers, usually when we talk about heat index values in the 90 to 105 degree range, heat-related illnesses are possible, but once we start getting closer to about 105 and 110, that's when heat exhaustion is likely, and even some heat stroke is possible if you are outside in the elements. Now, one last thing, the heat index is actually a measurement of how the air feels to your body in shaded areas. That's something that surprises a lot of people. So if you are exposed to direct sunlight, like some of the area could see, with mostly sunny skies, on Friday, that number could actually go up by as much as 15 degrees. So make sure to stay hydrated, take breaks, and if you're outside, stay cool during peak heating hours.
Will you save that equation for Susan? She wants to do some math.
No, that was interesting, actually. Very interesting.
There's some serious equations involved. They're breaking down the numbers in our weather department. Dave, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dave. Looking ahead, the extreme heat is forcing summer school closures. The Madison district posted on Facebook that all summer school programs are closed on Friday, including extended school year programs and Madison school and community recreation activities. Parents should call their daycare provider for more information if your child attends a program at an MMSD site. And we have more information about this on our website, channel3000.com. Along with making sure the children are safe in the heat, it's equally as important to check in on the elderly.
Some local organizations are doing their part to call or even visit elderly patients in their homes to make sure that they're doing okay in this heat. Jamie Perez followed some of those groups today. She joins us now with some of the things they're running into while they're doing this. Jamie?
Yeah, well, you know, for the most part, some people are doing okay during this heat spell, but it's the one or two that do need help cooling off that make some of these welfare checks worthwhile.
It's days like today where the breeze just isn't enough that local groups do what they can to make sure the elderly are doing okay in this heat.
Kemper, you and your little dog.
Deborah Anderson delivers prescriptions to customers of Fitchburg Family Pharmacy. While she does this, she doubles up on her work, doing welfare checks at the same time.
To be a good neighbor and to bring good health, I'm delivering good health in med boxes. So I think it's important that these people have somebody check up on them immediately. If not, we can contact their relative or contact the police and have them do a wellness check.
It's the same reason why Nicole Schaefer, the program director of SAIL, has been making calls to elderly patients all week.
Over 500 members, and we have called close to all of them.
She cares for these people through different means most of the time, but says this is just part of what she feels is the right thing to do.
I think that it really emphasizes what SAIL is here for, and we are here to help them continue to live independently, no matter what steps it means on our end.
While most of the time the people she calls are doing okay, there are times where people don't know how to turn on their air conditioning or need additional fans in their home to stay cool.
Just calling with this upcoming heat wave, we're checking in with all of our members to make sure you're doing okay.
It's small acts of kindness.
Make sure you have something to drink.
People showing they care about our elders that may help save lives during this heat wave.
A simple gesture can go a long way, and in these cases could save lives. Just a nice reminder for people to make sure that we check on the elderly, make sure they're doing okay, and don't need anything when it gets too hot.
All right, Jamie, thank you. And new at 5, a Wisconsin Dells man faces domestic abuse and criminal damage to property charges after a standoff this afternoon. It started around 12:30 on Oakleaf Lane in the town of Delona. That's south of Christmas Mountain. The man was reportedly breaking items and had fired a round from a firearm. State troopers, a Sauk County emergency response team, negotiations team, and deputies all responded. After 2 hours of negotiations, 19-year-old Andrew Kuzik voluntarily left that home. And police are happy to say a victim is safe and a man they consider dangerous is off the streets of Beloit tonight.
It comes after a 10-hour standoff. Our Madeline O'Neill has been following this story and joins us live from the 2200 block of Burton Street in Beloit, where this all happened. Maddie?
Hi, we're near Woodman's in Beloit. This is the street where the standoff happened in an apartment belonging to a 29-year-old woman police say had an intimate relationship with the suspect at some point. Now, there aren't the emergency vehicles here. There were earlier, but police are still investigating exactly what happened. What we do know is 32-year-old Alexander Duke of Rockford had previous warrants out that includes for felony charges in Beloit and Illinois of kidnapping, sexual assault, and recklessly endangering safety. Beloit police say that last charge comes from Duke pointing a gun at the woman in this case and firing it off next to her head. All of that is why police say it was important to get a tactical team involved and negotiators who got Duke to surrender at about 10:45 this morning. Beloit's police have been putting out alerts searching for Duke since late March. So have Rockford authorities for a crime there.
This guy has really terrorized Rockford and Beloit. Both departments have been looking for him feverishly for several months, and he's shown his propensity for the use of firearms and really a lack of sense of safety for others. So I think it was definitely a good person to get into custody and get him out of here.
Police say they don't believe this was a hostage situation at this time, but they're interviewing the victim to see if any potential crimes were committed today. They say she doesn't have any visible injuries. Now, for police, this really was a best case scenario resolution in a situation that could have gone either way at any time. Duke is headed to Rock County Jail, arrested because of those previous warrants, but as police investigated, more charges may be added for potential crimes today.
Madeline O'Neill reporting live from Beloit. Maddie, thank you. Black Lives Matter protesters marched in Harlem today on the 5th anniversary of Eric Garner's death.
Black lives, they matter here! Black lives, they matter here!
The 43-year-old died after a police officer allegedly placed him in a chokehold. His death was ruled a homicide by New York's medical examiner, who said the incident triggered a fatal asthma attack. Yesterday, the DOJ decided against charging Officer Daniel Pantaleo. He could still lose his job if he's found that he did in fact put Garner in a chokehold.
On Capitol Hill, the House has blocked an effort to impeach President Trump, showing the Democratic Party's rift on this issue. Texas Congressman Al Green introduced articles of impeachment yesterday after the president told 4 lawmakers of color to go back from where they came. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is against the move. Many Democrats also believe it's a waste of time as long as Republicans control the Senate and are unlikely to convict the president. And Republican U.S. Representative Sean Duffy, Northern Wisconsin, defended the president on the House floor yesterday. The 7th District Congressman called the 4 minority women President Trump has targeted, quote, anti-American. Democrats asked that his words be stricken from the record, calling them defamatory. Representative Duffy said the president's remarks could not be racist because they didn't mention anyone's race.
More local news now. Driving through Middleton will be much easier. University Avenue is back open after months of construction. The $1.5 million project wrapped up later than originally planned due to weather delays after a wet spring. City officials hope new left turn lanes at Parmenter Street and University Avenue will cut down on congestion and reduce crashes in the area. New at 5, the Wisconsin men's basketball team is showing a sneak preview of their new jerseys. The new threads have some extra red trim and different stripes, but the biggest change is adding players' last names on the back. The Badgers' first exhibition game of the 2019-2020 season is against UW La Crosse. If you want to mark your calendar, it is November 1st. At the Kohl Center.
A little bit of change.
Yeah, they look sharp.
Those names on there. All right, coming up on News 3 now at 5, family members of those killed in a Boeing 737 MAX crash testify before Congress. They say they have never received a personal apology.
And more local news coming up next hour. A Wanakee brewery that never planned on serving food is now a featured spot for Summer Restaurant Week. That story is coming up tonight on News 3 Now at 6.
And on Wall Street today, the Dow tumbles another 116 points. The NASDAQ off 38. S&P gave back about 20. And we'll be right back.
Kohl's is starting up an early hiring wave for back to school through the holiday season shopping. The Menominee Falls-based company is hiring nearly double the number of early hiring positions compared to last year. The positions include distribution and e-commerce fulfillment centers, plus 3,000 store workers. Hiring starts in August. Several brands of hummus are being recalled due to listeria risk. Listeria is a serious infection that can cause flu-like symptoms. Hummus brands to check for include 7 Select, Roundy's, Pita Pal, Fresh Time, and more. You can find a full list of the affected products at fda.org. So far, no illnesses have been reported.
Family members of victims killed in Boeing 737 MAX crashes told Congress the company made criminal decisions they believe were driven by financial greed. One man who lost 5 family members in the Ethiopia Airlines flight says that crash might have never happened had Boeing acted appropriately. He points to the company's initial stance that the previous Lion Air crash in Indonesia was caused by pilot error.
I think about the last 6 minutes a lot. My wife and my mom-in-law knew they were going to die. It never leaves me that my family's flesh is there in Ethiopia, mixed with the soil, the jet fuel, and pieces of the aircraft.
The Federal Aviation Administration did not ground the jet until after the second crash in Ethiopia 6 months later, when the plane's stabilization system was linked to the disasters. Family members say they have not received personal apologies from Boeing. The company's CEO instead issued a public apology and pledged $100 million in assistance for those families.
Let's turn to the weather now. Gary Canulti is here with the forecast. Gary?
Boy, lots of things to talk about in the forecast. The heat, the threat for severe weather, and also the possibility for some heavy rain. Here are current temperatures. They're mainly in the 80s. Notice it actually has cooled off over eastern Iowa, where some thunderstorms have moved through. But just behind that, temperatures jump into the 90s over southwestern Iowa back into Nebraska. So these temperatures that are in the mid to upper 80s with dew point temperatures in the lower 70s feel like heat index values are into the low to mid 90s. These numbers will go up over the next couple of days. In fact, as we take a look at future track heat index, this is tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock. Notice the triple-digit heat across much of southern Wisconsin with the heat index. Take a look at Friday. Even hotter, perhaps close to 110 in spots, with high temperatures actually in the middle 90s. And even on Saturday, there's going to be some excessive heat indices very close to us. Notice how it has Madison at 79. That's because it assumes thunderstorms will make it here late in the afternoon to start cooling us off. If those storms stay a little farther to the north and don't reach us until evening, we're going to be back in the triple-digit heat indices before the storms start to break the heat. There are heat advisories in effect for Madison, Milwaukee, into La Crosse from tomorrow afternoon into Friday evening. To the south, excessive heat warnings include Crawford and Grant counties with southwestern Wisconsin, the Chicago metro area back through most of Iowa, and areas farther to the south. Then the other problem is the potential for heavy rain. Now, last night, there were some heavy rainfalls of 1 to 2 inches and thunderstorms over parts of Iowa and Lafayette counties. Then farther to the west, there were more thunderstorms before that over the last couple of days that brought heavier rains of 1 to 4 inches over parts of Iowa into Minnesota and northwestern Wisconsin. Well, you can see right now the batch of thunderstorms in Iowa has moved to the south. So right now there's no imminent threat, but we're watching to see if storms start developing in southwestern Minnesota and then move eastward, reaching us later on tonight. Far to the north, another area of thunderstorms has prompted the issuance of a tornado watch up in northern Minnesota. There's a slight risk of severe thunderstorms into the Madison area overnight. This would be late tonight into early tomorrow morning, with high winds and heavy rain being the main threat. But it's not a slam dunk for sure that we're going to get those thunderstorms. They might stay a little farther to the north. Tomorrow, even a lesser confidence in the severe weather forecast. Slight risk of severe thunderstorms to the north and a marginal risk south, but it may be that the storms don't even develop across our viewing area. And the same thing for Friday, when high temperatures will be in the mid-90s. Expect the possibility for thunderstorms, but the greatest threat will be farther to the north. Rainfall amounts, according to the computer models, some areas may pick up very little, some areas could pick up an inch or two, and then we look for the possibility for more showers and thunderstorms on Saturday and Sunday that eventually will break the heat, but perhaps bring us another inch or two of rain. And flash flood watches are in effect for the western parts of our viewing area. So alert days are in the forecast all the way through Saturday. We did drop the alert day for Sunday because it now looks like temperatures will be in the mid-80s, but tomorrow and Friday will be the hottest days with those heat indices perhaps around 110. Flash flood watch in effect for our western viewing area until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Heat advisory most areas, heat warning for southwestern Wisconsin into Friday evening. Overnight, look for shower and thunderstorm chances toward morning with with a low of only 74. And then tomorrow, the showers and storms move out. Look for a high of 94 degrees. On future track, you can see the thunderstorm chances moving out this evening and then perhaps redeveloping late tomorrow night into early tomorrow morning. Then the sun comes out. Temperatures jump up into the mid-90s of the heat indices into the triple digits. Tomorrow night, low temperatures only in the upper 70s and just a slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm, and back into the mid to upper 90s for Friday, probably our hottest day. And again, those rainfall amounts, spotty. Some areas not picking up anything. Some areas could pick up an inch or two. It's just hard to figure out exactly who will get it. Alert days in the forecast through Saturday, but thunderstorms on Sunday. Take a look at the forecast for next week. You can see those high temperatures between about 80 and 85 with much less in the way of humidity. As we take a look at first alert traffic right now, there is the belt line at Park Street. Eastbound, very slow traffic going right now. We're seeing delays from around Monona Drive back to west of Verona Road. Also seeing some delays northbound on US 12 heading out of Middleton, and a few on US 151 East Washington Avenue. Right now, travel on the eastbound belt line, 27 minutes from University Avenue to the interstate, 18 minutes going back in the westbound direction. Heading out of Madison, about 26 minutes from the belt line to Janesville on I-3990, 20 minutes to Sauk City on US 12 from Middleton up to Sauk City, and then 18 minutes to Sun Prairie on East Washington Avenue and US 151. That's your News 3 Now First Alert traffic.
Thank you, Gary.
The list of connected kitchen technologies is growing. Coming up, how a smart trash can is helping restaurants cut down on food waste. Stay with us. New research shows cutting down on the amount of beef in our diets can help save the planet. The World Resources Institute says Americans should cut back a burger and a half each week. It's all based on just how much food it's going to take to feed people by the year 2050, when there is expected to be about 10 billion people on this planet. The study focuses on cutting down on beef because cattle require 20 times more land and make more than 20 times more greenhouse gases than growing certain plants. Cattle also reproduce more slowly than pigs and chicken. More than $160 billion worth of food is wasted here in the U.S. every year, not just at home, but also in restaurants.
An American businessman has developed an intelligent trash can to help companies around the world cut down on their leftovers. Ian Lee reports from London.
Breakfast is served at this IKEA in North London. 15,000 hungry customers move through this line every week, and what they don't eat is thrown away.
Meatballs, and more meatballs.
Chef Ricardo Roach tossed about 20 pounds of meatballs every day until technology changed the way he operates. Now an artificial intelligence system called WISC-TV helps chefs manage leftovers.
So we just put the waste in the bin. The camera takes the photo. Correct.
The computer snaps a photo to identify the food and weighs it to determine how much is being thrown out, putting it in dollar terms.
And you get a report the following morning that you can analyze to adjust your business accordingly.
WISC-TV calculates food trends, giving Ricardo an idea of how much needs to be cooked for customers so less is thrown out at the end of the day. The food tracker has cut IKEA's waste in the UK and Ireland by nearly 40%, saving the equivalent of 800,000 meals a year. IKEA says what's good for the bottom line is also good for the environment.
But you are contributing to something bigger, something that will impact the well-being of the planet for the future.
Nearly a third of all food worldwide ends up in landfills, worth roughly $1 trillion a year. WISC-TV is trying to take a small bite out of that problem. The tracker is used by several other companies, including Intercontinental Hotels Group, Costa Cruises, and Imar Hospitality Group.
I think we're going to see a movement to make this problem something of the past over the next 20 years.
With growing interest across the food industry, WISC-TV hopes to help more companies save both types of green. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
IKEA hopes to eventually start using the food tracking system in the restaurants of its U.S. stores as well.
Stay with us. We'll have another check of your forecast in just a moment. Finally, at 5, a nursing home in Kansas has come up with a fun way for their residents to stay cool in the summer heat.
They're helping residents go down a slip and slide. The motto of the Nickel Home facility is letting residents continue living on their terms, even if it means pushing them a little to try something they haven't done in decades.
Oh, look at that video. It's all
we
about
should set one
having
up in the
fun.
backyard here, I think. We may need it to break the heat.
Let's do it. You guys need it out on that weather patty. It's hot.
Fortunately, the weather office is air conditioned, but we still have the potential for some thunderstorms later tonight. Right now, nothing imminent. Everything on the eastern part of our viewing area is moving out. The activity to our south is moving away from us. Temperatures right now are in the low to mid 80s in areas that haven't been cooled off by rain. Those dew point temperatures are in the 70s, and it feels like it's about 90 here in Madison. So that goes up for tomorrow.
CBS Evening News is next. We'll be back in 30.